What's up, guys? It's the League Dad, and we are coming at you with another episode of the All In Podcast, a podcast for casual leaguers. Today, I'm joined by Kevin, Shee, Mitchell, and Nerdy. You heard them last week talking about LCS, and this week we're doing the same thing, but we're bringing you this episode much earlier. So this is a recap on LCS Week 2. A lot of stuff happening in North America, some big surprises, lots of action, and we're here to just kind of bring all that stuff to you. So if you haven't caught up yet, warning, there will be spoilers. So make sure you watch all the games that you want to watch first before listening. But after you do that, then come on back and join the conversation in the show. But guys, what an exciting week. Right off the top of your head, what's the biggest thing that stuck out LCS Week 2? Let's start with you, Kevin. Go.
I mean, biggest thing that stuck out to me is that CLG actually managed to beat Liquid. I did not expect that at all, and I thought that Liquid would have turned it on by week 2.
Yep. Okay. Mitchell?
Yeah.
OPTIC is the undisputed best team in America.
Wow. Amazing.
That's a good one.
And since we're the second best region in the world, what?
Exactly.
So what does that say?
OPTIC is greater than IG.
Wow.
According to
Oh, wow. Okay, let's make those claims right now. All right, Nerdy, what about you? Biggest takeaway?
I mean, I don't know. There's something about like the games that happened. A certain team stood out to me. I don't know.
I love it. I love that you put on the swag. You guys can't see this right now, but go ahead and talk about your swag that you got here, Nerdy.
Yeah,
He's been saving this for years, hiding in a closet.
Fan, okay?
Yeah, there it is.
I'm representing once again. Power of Evil played really well.
Yeah, CLG. Yeah, very, very interesting game. We'll definitely get into that, but you guys can't see it. But Nerdy definitely put his hat and he's got a CLG shirt on, so very proud of him for representing his team unashamedly. But I mean, you know, he puts it on now, of course. But hey, we're not gonna knock him too hard. We're happy that he's happy for his team. But we're gonna jump right into it, guys. If you haven't, seen it yet, OPTIC Gaming is the only undefeated team right now. They are 4-0, going 2-0 this past weekend again, followed by Golden Guardians and Cloud9, both holding strong at 3-1. And then we kind of have this hodgepodge of split 50-50 teams. CLG, Clutch Gaming, TSM, and Team Liquid all in that. And then we have the bottom three. At 1-3, we have FlyQuest and Echo Fox. And not surprisingly, the 0-4 team sitting all alone at the bottom of the pit is 100 Thieves. So that's how it breaks down after week 2's action. And we're just going to jump into this. Let's talk about the first place team right now, OPTIC Gaming. Who wants to jump in here? Who wants to talk about anything, surprises? What are your thoughts on OPTIC right now? Is this a fluke, or are we seeing something, the beginning of something special here?
Yeah, I'll tag in here real quick before all the happiness comes in. I don't think I don't think it's a huge deal that OPTIC is 4-0. I have a friend who works for them too. Their only impressive win so far has been over FlyQuest.
Okay.
And like everyone else was a literally bottom 3 or bottom 4 team last split. So like to me, like defeating Clutch Gaming, 100 Thieves, CLG,
yep,
and FlyQuest. Like beating 3 not playoff teams and then 1 bottom of the 4th place team is not really like a super impressive 4-0 run. I just think it's strength of schedule for OPTIC. They have looked solid in their games for sure, but like we've seen this.
You're not surprised. Yeah.
Yeah, like they played APTF and without communication and they still somehow managed to win a game because the other team was just so bad. I don't know. I think it's just like they look good, but they don't look much different from last
You're not fully convinced, and that's okay. I mean, I think you're probably not the only person in that argument, as far as the scheduling goes. But they're winning games that technically maybe they should be winning. I will say that some of this play is really good, particularly with Meteos and Crown. I really like how those two are playing together. But we can dive into that a little bit more. First, Mitchell, what are your thoughts on OPTIC? Do you agree with Kevin, or do you think this is a new thing?
I have a bit more measured reaction. I think that, they had an easier schedule, but last split, they were definitely dropping games to teams below them in the standings. I'm pretty sure last split, they would drop a random game to Echo Fox or CLG, or they would drop a game to Clutch Gaming or something like that. But no, now they're saying we're going to be above the playoff standing. We're going to be at 6th instead of 7th or 8th last split. So I think it's a notable improvement in where it counts. improving from 10th to 9th is not that big of a deal, but improving from 7th to 6th is like the biggest deal in the world.
Sure.
So, and they do look a lot cleaner. It's almost like Crown is a world champion, and like Meteos is was a MVP and former split champion, stuff like that. So
Yeah.
they're looking really good. I wouldn't be surprised. Like you see CLG and Echo Fox taking a game off Team Liquid. You see other teams taking off a game of TSM. I forget. Oh, they lost to FlyQuest.
Yeah.
Like OPTIC could beat them now. They look weak. Like I'm not saying that they're better teams by come playoffs, but I wouldn't be surprised if they did actually take a game off of TSM
Sure.
or Team Liquid in their next coming weeks.
It's a
So
really good point.
yeah, I have higher hopes.
Yeah, I think you're, that's a good point. And honestly, if they're beating these teams, yeah, they're lower levels of the team, but hey, that's the first step, right, to climbing the ranks is you're beating the lower level teams to prove that you're above them, you're better than them. And so if you start stealing a game or two from the top echelon teams, you're right up in there, because not only are you beating the teams that you're supposed to beat, quote unquote, but you're beating some of the teams that maybe you're not necessarily supposed to beat, and now you're in third place, fourth place, so that's definitely yeah, putting wins together when you need them, that's very important. So Nerdy, any thoughts on OPTIC?
I mean, I agree with Mitchell. I think that you have to take a look at the schedule and go, yeah, the teams were easy, but it's certainly an improvement on where they were looking last split. I think Crown actually looked like he maybe got off the plane and arrived in NA. Turns out that he can actually play League of Legends, world champion by the way. So the rest of the team doesn't, like, his side laners don't have to keep up all the time if he's playing the likes of a TF. Meteos is always going to be good. I think that they have a style that they can play, and as long as they keep up to that, they can find wins. If they start banning TF or trying to play something else, then maybe we'll start to see if they're actually a good team or not, because what they've got right now works for their weaknesses. But I don't know. We'll see. Maybe they play something different and they look bad, and then we can go, turns out.
There it is, right? Everything looks good when you're winning, so it's not very much to nitpick. But I do think, what we talked about this a little bit, but actually, before I do that, I think a funny little thing that we should let our viewers know is that last week we did a prediction on who would be undefeated, if it was C9 or Golden Guardians. Well, we were all wrong, because we all put two of us put C9, two of us put Golden Guardians, and surprise, surprise, neither of those are undefeated. It's actually OPTIC. So we were wrong.
Clutch. Are you kidding me? Sorry.
Yeah. So
I mean, C9.
It beats C9.
Yeah.
I know.
So
literally opposite day.
Exactly. So we were all thrown off there. But what do you guys think is, that we've alluded to this, but what do you think, and you can go in a little more depth, what do you think is the biggest reason for this? I know maybe ease of schedule, but for me personally, I see Meteos kind of being like the veteran kind of like he seems to keep games in check even when he doesn't do well in the beginning. Like I believe he was caught out early as Olaf, when he was trying to invade the jungle of Lee Sin. Yeah, but it just seems like he still understands where to path, where to go, and he bounced back pretty hard, ending that game 4-1 and 4. So for me, it's Meteos, and obviously Crown is just being Crown again. But anything you guys want to add as to what you think the reason might be for why they're playing so well?
I think that let me go because mine's really short. I think that the only the key thing in League of Legends that determines if you win is if your team has the most gold. Do you know who the top 3 KDA players are in the league right now? Meteos, Crown, and Arrow. Wow. They're just not They're not dying, and as long as they don't die, they don't give up gold. Now, obviously, you have to play it aggressively in order to get gold at the same time. But we're seeing them not int, which is fantastic for a bottom LCS team. And 2 of these players are Korean, so they're going to have relatively good KDAs, but look a bit messy because their team doesn't follow up. Right now, they're all looking relatively clean. And if three of your star members are at the top of the league in KDA, your team's going to look fantastic, even if they could be a bit weak.
Yeah. Okay. What about you, Kevin?
Yeah, I was gonna say, if you guys watched Academy last year with TSM Academy, you remember that guy, the jungler or whatever, who had to have a cardboard cutout for him during the playoffs?
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's what I felt about Crown. I felt like last split was cardboard cutout Crown. He was just like he was there, but he really wasn't there.
Yeah.
But now he's finally shown up. Like I'm like,
Yeah.
yeah, I mean the keys. That's definitely Crown sitting in that C, not
Yeah.
cardboard Crown.
There he
So
is.
he traded in that BK cardboard Crown for an actual player, and he's looking really
For sure.
good.
Yeah.
It's nice to have more competitive mid laners in NA. I want to see like intense Jensen and Bjergsen and Crown and I guess sort of Niski like matches. So I'm very excited that he's back for now.
Yeah.
I mean,
Definitely.
even last year,
didn't
he
say
was
a problem,
conversation for MVP, like, which
Yeah.
is crazy. Like, most valuable player to OPTIC. That's pretty nuts. So
Yeah, no, I mean he was good, but there was just like a disconnect between his good plays and like his team. So
Oh,
like,
yeah.
it's nice to see him like the mid lane's like the heart of a team or the jungle
Mhm.
depending on the team.
Yeah.
but-
No, it just
Well-
definitely seems like there's more cohesion there, you know?
I have some specific points about why I think OPTIC is improving.
Okay.
I think so last split, they've always been kind of a split push identity team. Like they really tried it hard last split. That's how they won a lot of their games. But they always try to split push through Dokla. And then now they're just sticking him on like Poppy duty.
Mhm.
And they're having Crown split push. And it's just working so much better.
So
Like,
much
so
more.
much better with Crown as your split push carry. So
Yeah.
yeah, really they feel like they're doing the same thing almost with different players and much like cleaner and much like,
Yeah.
more decisive. So it's like they have a lot of practice in this style. They're just I think they're just improving, which is cool.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Okay.
Split push. And they're the only team in the league playing split push too. So
Mm-hmm. Okay. Yeah. I mean, it's just interesting to see. I mean, it's only week 2, but again, I think it's still one of those like they look good by all accounts. They look like they're on a pace to at least be middle of the pack or even in the upper half of the LCS. We'll still have a lot of action to see see if it actually holds true, but definitely good start. And I think that Meteos and Crown are a good foundation to definitely build off of. So we'll have to see, especially if they really start tightening that cohesion together. Mid jungle synergy is very important. But let's move on to the next group of leaders in the LCS. Let's talk about first Golden Guardians and Cloud9, because to me that was my highlight matchup of the week. And real quickly, I did ask last time who you guys thought was going to win this, and I have your predictions here. So Mitchell, you said Golden Guardians was going to win. Nerdy, you said Golden Guardians was going to win, and you guys were right.
Oh.
So me and Kevin were actually wrong on there. It was a great game. We could talk about that game specifically since they're both in the same kind of tier. What did you guys think about the game, Golden Guardians and Cloud9?
so hype.
I think it was
very good.
I think it was the only game we've ever saw this like yesterday at least or on Sunday that like was back
Yeah,
in the game enders.
back and forth. Yeah, definitely. Mhm.
I think that it's crazy that Ole gets Tom Kench. I'm sure everyone what his stat was 17-4 or something like that in competitive in wins or something crazy.
Yeah.
Not to mention so I think maybe in every game so far, Golden Guardians have drafted a poke comp. They take the likes of Ezreal or Varus and something that pokes. So in their game against Clutch, they picked Corki and they played Anivia twice. They just picked it again. They're just like, you know what? Let's just play poke again. We like that. We're winning with it. And if you get the best champions for each player, definitely plays Varus in Academy, like almost exclusively.
Yeah.
Like he's actually very good on Varus. Tom Kench Varus was already broken beforehand.
Yeah.
Now it's and even though he's changed, he's actually more of a poke Tom Kench. So it actually works for the comp even better. All his nuts on it. Froggen gets Anivia. It's just a perfect blend of like what that team needed to edge them closer to a team like C9. And then of course they played it very well as well. But without these tools, I think it would have been a lot closer on C9 side of the dial for winning, because I think it's hard to say. I mean, I don't want to speak for Mitchell, but I'd like to think that we both went in it off the basis that we're like Golden Guardians have improved and would like to see them continue. And oh yeah, of course, Golden Guardians are going to beat C9. C9's a bad team. That's not even.
Yeah, sure.
No. Golden Guardians definitely improved.
Good point. Yeah. Okay. Well, so for me, I mean, I've said this before, but I love seeing Froggen on comfort picks, right? And seeing him on Anivia I love it because it does put a pressure on the other team, because if he could, like, I mean, he is amazing on Anivia. And the thing is, like, there were so many parts in that game where, I mean, it would just be an Anivia wall blocking out, you know, like when I saw C9, I forget who was trying to teleport and do a flank. He basically Anivia walled the rest of the team so they couldn't collapse. And basically the one who was trying to flank is now isolated, and they just go in and give it. I feel like Anivia actually does have a lot of tools here to be successful in a lot of team comps. You got CC, you have her passive with the egg, and that is just like a mini GA. I mean, not to mention with Tom Kench. Oh. Exactly. It is just very disgusting. And so the fact that they kind of played a little bit around the Anivia pick, and the fact that Froggen is a beast. I mean, his name is Anivia Kid. Now you put pressure on the team to, like, do we target ban Anivia? Like, and then possibly leave out some strong meta picks.
Silas or something. It's like
exactly.
This is it's been the age-old how to play against Froggen question for like almost a decade now. Do I ban Anivia? Do I ban Lux? Do I ban Vel'Koz? Do I ban all these super weird champions? AP Kog'Maw back in the day? Like, the dude is too good at the game.
Yeah, he's
the
really good.
The less dashes he has, the better he is.
For sure. Like, Froggen's amazing at the game. Like, I was trying to say he hard carried his team, but actually Hansler was insane on that.
Exactly.
That
Yep.
game.
Dude, Olay was insane. Holy cow.
They all had their moments, it felt like. Yeah.
There was definitely
and then they lost. Then they lose to other worse teams.
Yeah.
Their loss to Clutch was. It's like the same thing, but in reverse. Like, it's crazy. They didn't.
The same thing in reverse.
So they don't get. They pick a poke comp again, except this time they play Ezreal. Definitely is not as good on Ezreal as he is on Varus, so he falls behind. Like, they play Corki, and I'm pretty confident they only picked Corki to be like, Silas doesn't have a good ult now, but like, Froggen barely used the passive very well. He did all right in lane, but he didn't really do. They did the Team Liquid classic of draft a good comp, do nothing, and like
the NA classic.
NA classic. You know, you think about this too, like, I mean, if a Clutch game, which I felt I was kind of perplexed by why they lost that game, but, you know, let's say they win that one, now all of a sudden they're looking like a strong team, you know, and it could have been just, you know, I don't know, they didn't execute their comp again correctly, but by all accounts, the Golden Guardian still looks really good, and in a really good position. I think all of them are starting to find their cohesion and chemistry together, you know, kind of finding these workarounds, Froggen and Hanser really getting to his own, and the team, even Deftly playing amazing as well. So if you had to pick between C9 and Golden Guardians as how this pans out, and for like the number, you know, 2-3 spot, who do you think, or not even ranking, but who do you think ranks above? Are we still saying C9 is the better team overall, and this is maybe just a early game, you know, spikes or something, or anomalies?
I don't ever count out Cloud9. Ever.
Okay, yeah, I think I agree with you.
The Worlds every single year, which means they're like at least top 3 or something. So
yeah.
It's really hard. It's a hard question.
I think I think C9 potentially rank above. C9 should have been at MSI more than likely, or maybe not at MSI, but at least in the LCS finals last split, and that eluded them. I think that's not because of their mistakes outside of like their final game against TSM, as where GGS got 4th, but that was like a fight for 4th. But now I think the GGS could maybe get 4th or 3rd. It's hard to say that it ever gets 2nd unless Team Liquid just somehow continue to be the Team Liquid that we're seeing right now, in which case maybe. But, you know, that's not something you're going to bank
maybe
on.
Here's a better way to possibly frame this, and we'll take just C9 out of the equation, but is Golden Guardians a better team than FlyQuest? Or like, even so, we have OPTIC and we have Golden Guardians who are kind of showing their stripes now. Early on, they have a pretty, you know, good record. They're both playing pretty strong, but do you think that's enough do you think there's enough there for them to actually end up maybe in the top 4 and possibly booting out one of the top 3 that we've normally seen in Team Liquid, C9, and TSM, and even FlyQuest? So you think so?
Yeah. I think that they're probably heir apparent to the FlyQuest 4th place spot.
Okay. So you're for saying at least FlyQuest. They've kind of dethroned FlyQuest from being that. And FlyQuest, to be honest, hasn't been playing that well.
That's true.
They're a little slow, but they did that last split too. They had like 3 weeks where they just lost every game, and then they came back up.
You know, I think. Go ahead.
I was gonna say
I don't know. I don't want to trust in Golden Guardians quite yet. Because like we haven't seen them win a game without Tom Kench. I want to see that happen first.
Good point.
And then we'll
This is a very good point.
That is a very good point.
So if they start winning games without Tom Kench because it's banned, then I think they have top 3 potential. But
it's a good point.
Otherwise,
it's a good point to make. You know, maybe teams haven't really been. There's not enough data, I guess, to see this early in the split as to, what they need to be banning out. And now that teams have seen every single game they're picking Tom Kench, maybe they wake up and say, okay,
their one loss was without Tom Kench when Clutch banned it of all teams.
Yeah, interesting.
I guess
so
Clutch
they know
what they're doing in the draft.
What the heck?
Good point. Yeah.
It's such a weird world we live in.
Also,
Nerdy, did you have
had a couple of throws in that game? Those were pretty unfortunate.
Good point.
6 were really bad.
Yeah, I think. Go ahead, Nerdy. Yeah, I know you had something to say.
I was just going to mention. I think that something considering like that the potential placing is that playoffs are almost different. So if we're talking about regular season placing, seeing them place 3rd or 4th is way potentially easier than placing 4th after playoffs, where obviously you're playing best of 5s. And although I think GGS might be actually a relatively good best of 5 team if you consider the flexibility of a person like Froggen, also their bot lane maybe can't hold up to snuff in a best of 5. I mean, last split I don't think they could, which is they had that close game again, the close series against FlyQuest, but they ended up losing that. And if they can't, they'd have to way outperform what they did there to see, to beat any of the other teams in a best of 5 really in your top 6. So because they got like the easiest matchup really, and I think that it's probably too early in the season to suggest where we think they're going to be. Because again, if the Tom Kench is banned out, then what do we see? I do think that they have the potential at the very least in the top 3 against any odds. If they keep the trajectory that they've got now, it's hard to see why they wouldn't beat like a TSM. And then if they, 1-1 against TSM, 1-1 against C9, that's good enough to get them 2, 4th, 3rd.
Yeah,
so.
Sure. And I think, to be honest, for me, it feels like Golden Guardians and OPTIC are kind of like the FlyQuest of Spring Split, right? Like, I think when we first were seeing FlyQuest do that well, I think everybody, even like the analysts, were like, what's happening here? Because on paper, it didn't really look like that team would be super strong, but they were just performing really well. And I think for me, it just feels like that with OPTIC and Golden Guardians just kind of being like a team that, I mean, Golden Guardians does look pretty good on paper, but I mean, I just feel like they've been playing well, and this is the team that people are like, wow, we didn't necessarily to start off this, think you were going to start off this strong, but they have been, and so that's pretty interesting to see. And maybe FlyQuest, this split has become kind of, I don't know, maybe they've just kind of fallen off or haven't been able to get that jump start like they did last spring, and then be able to ride that momentum. But let's go ahead and talk about the next kind of pack. And then we got 4 teams in this, 50-50 pack. We got TSM, Team Liquid, CLG, Clutch Gaming. Let's start with TSM. So honestly, I don't know what's going on here. I'm a TSM fan, so this is where I'm kind of paying a little closer attention. They lost to FlyQuest, which I guess, that wasn't, I don't know. I wasn't like super surprised, I guess. I mean, FlyQuest is a decent team, but I don't know. What do you guys think about TSM right now?
I think they're ruining Acadian as a jungler. He's such a good jungler, and they're putting him on Hecarim duty twice in a row, trying to compare to Grig. And it's like, what are you doing? Put him on J4, put him on Rek'Sai, put him on, unless they're not trying to get wins and they're trying stuff out, it really feels like they're playing a style that favors Grig, and it's making Acadian look bad, even though he's not bad. And it's like a bummer, in my opinion. Also, the Sonateric comp, they're the first loss in North America to lose on Sonateric.
Of course they are.
Imagine that.
Oh,
Also,
gosh.
TSM found a way.
yeah,
Yeah.
TSM found a way.
Honestly.
They picked Coin. The cast was saying, "Oh, Coin is fine. Actually, I actually really like the Coin on Sona." No, it's terrible. You do like significantly less poke damage, and like
Yeah.
That's gold.
you get less gold. You don't get the I don't know, because the like
Yeah.
I think the coin was okay actually. If you actually looked at it, they were even in gold with the Caitlyn in laning phase. Like against the Caitlyn, I forgot what the support was, but Caitlyn something lane. Like on paper, you see that in draft, you are not going to get a lot of Sona poke off normally.
It's
And you
Caitlyn
have
and
to
Lux
keep-
they had. Yeah.
Yeah, like against that, you need to keep your mana pool up. So like the coin is superior in that situation. And if they did the math, like they showed it in laning phase, and they were even on gold against the Caitlyn Lux. Most AD carries can't even purport to like pull that off. So as a Sona,
Yeah.
I thought that was okay. Like yeah, I think you could have pulled off Svelty, but I don't think Sven is a Sona player really. I think he's like that was just like a don't feed bot, and they did okay, but the rest of the game was kind of oof.
Mhm.
all right, maybe the Coin is fine, but missing Sona ult is not fine.
Yes,
so.
yes. That's,
No, yeah.
No, I mean it was
That is never
probably-
fine.
It was
Yeah.
Broken Blade screwing over Zen once again. One time in game, one time IRL. So,
Yeah.
so one thing I wanted to make a point about was I think Acadian's a very confidence-based jungler. Like you remember when he joined Echo Fox and he was like everyone was like saying this guy's such an amazing NA jungler, and he was like styling on people, right?
Yeah,
Mhm.
Mason,
The second
right?
he loses a little bit of steam, though, it definitely feels like his playstyle like drops off a cliff. Like the second they put Greg in as a potential like starting jungle sub,
Yeah.
it feels like Acadian's just like he doesn't know what he's about anymore. He like sometimes tries to play like Greg, sometimes they just draft him like they're playing Greg, and I'm wondering like
Mhm.
why are you putting Acadian in there if you're not going to play Acadian? So
Yeah.
You have
TSM
to,
needs to
if
figure
you
that
play
out.
Acadian, you get Acadian. Like you have to
Mhm.
play Acadian. Like you can't play Grig as a kid. It's so stupid. Like honestly,
you
they
guys-
should just they need to make a choice, and like Acadian is being wasted right now. Like put him on a hyper aggressive team because Jesus
Mhm.
Christ,
Yeah.
it's terrible watching him suffer.
Have you guys not seen TSM play with their jungler before? Usually ruining their jungler is their favorite thing to do. I'm surprised they even have
Oh, yeah.
one good jungler. That's probably why they
It's
have
the
to.
meme. It's the life
But-
story of TSM.
It's sadly true because I do. The problem is that you think about like the backstage of it and you go, all right, so they want to play Greg because he was injured, so it's kind of like unfair for him to lose his position just because Arcadian stepped up and did really well.
I don't know.
Finals. You made fifth game of finals. Screw
Of
that.
course, but
Okay.
management's not going to think that. They don't care.
Yeah.
They don't necessarily care as much about results. Reginald's a very team-oriented player. I'll have.
But
you.
I do like.
I think it's pretty honorable to keep that though.
It is honorable.
It's true.
I think it's stupid, though, still.
Yeah,
They
it's
don't-
it's
they
very
don't
dumb.
win games.
Yeah, let me bring this back to like a football reference, right? With like the Dallas Cowboys. If you guys ever watched football or paid attention, Tony Romo was like the starting QB. He's like their golden boy. In fact, it was like surprising they never traded him because of how, to me, sucky he was, right? And he gets injured, and Prescott comes in as like a new quarterback, and he does unbelievable. He ends up like carrying the Cowboys to like unexpected like levels. And in fact, what happens is he takes over because Tony Romo ends up being injured that whole season, and he takes over that whole quarterback and takes over his starting position. And Romo ends up retiring as now an analyst. All right, so like Tony Romo was the golden boy of the Cowboys, but a new player came in and showed how good he was. And it showed that they could win without their star quarterback. And now he has a spot. And so I don't think I don't know what the deciding factor is for TSM or Reginald and whatever's going on, why they want to keep putting Grig back in. If it's different styles and they want to juggle them, then that's fine. But I have to agree with Mitchell that put Grig in for a certain style if you want to play that way, and put Acadian on maybe certain champs and a certain style. That way you have variety. You play to their strengths, right? And that's what you go for. But if you're just playing Grig just because you felt bad that he was injured, like that's, I feel like the worst reason to play somebody.
Like to me, like they're like basically like right now they're playing MLXG and Carson. They're like MLXG, go in and don't gank, don't do anything risky, just play like Carson. And he's like, wait,
point.
But why?
Yeah, that's actually a really good analogy. It's like putting
Yeah.
MLXG on like a slow scaling jungler, like heck.
Mhm.
And just like have him sit there and not play aggressive, and it's like,
Yeah.
what's the point then?
Like, why
Exactly.
did you put
Yeah.
MLXG in? Yeah.
I think
Right.
they miss how it affects the rest of their map state as well, because Arcadian and Broken Blade had like a fairly good amount of synergy set up for like, dude, Arcadian goes top. TSM seemingly played like a top lane heavy side team, at
Very
least in their
aggressive. Yeah.
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 finals, and in their game against Echo Fox at the very least, they played bot side exclusive with Greg and kind of just left
Mhm.
Broken Blade on Kennen
Yeah.
up
Mhm.
to and he didn't do awful. But
Mhm.
like it's Broken Blade. I was saying that this guy's probably NA's best top laner, and he went like 0-0-1.
I still
in
take
my-
Mhm.
Licorice, but yeah, it's pretty good.
Yeah, I'd still take
was
Licorice, yeah.
fantastic, but from spring finals, I thought Broken Blade was fantastic. He
Oh, yeah, it was really
hard
good, yeah.
carried that through, goddamn.
I
Like,
mean,
through that-
better than the Shy, right? He took more games off Impact in a best of 5.
Yeah.
I mean, Impact, it looked like the best NA top laner at MSI. As in,
MSI.
like, if he used that
Yes.
performance and he brought it back, I think Impact's
Yeah.
been playing fine. But we'll get to
Impact
Team Liquid
is-
after.
Of
Yeah.
course. I mean,
Yeah.
beat the Shy. That's all I'm saying.
That's true. That's a very small list of people
That's
who've ever done
it's
that.
true. All right, before we go on to CLG and the Team Liquid game, one thing I just wanted to highlight real quickly on the TSM FlyQuest match was freaking Riven. Viper on Riven is again what freaking monster. I mean, again, I think that this is what I like too, right? Because people that you're known for, we referenced the Anivia with Froggen, but Viper is known for his Riven. And that's another threat that you get to bring into draft phase, like, okay, who's gonna freaking ban Riven, right? But with FlyQuest, you kind of have to, like, it's at least gotta be in your list of possibilities to ban, because he showed right here that, my gosh, if you leave him unchecked, he's just gonna do work, and he definitely showed that. So I wanted to highlight that. Any other thoughts on that, on his Riven during that game? Are we all just as speechless as me?
Riven got
That's so
nerfed, right?
disgusting. Riven got
Yeah,
nerfed.
right.
Yeah,
I thought Riven got nerfed.
Riven got nerfed.
What the hell?
Yeah.
Seriously.
So something to keep in mind. So the reason why they picked Riven was because of the POWERHOUSE matchup, I
Pike,
believe.
yeah.
Broken Blade drafted Pike because Riven's been up in multiple games during the season.
Yeah.
So it's not like they just like
NA Pike.
had Riven banned every game. They just
Yeah,
didn't
NA
play because the
Pike.
matchup wasn't good. But
Yeah.
I do think Pike gets dicked on by Riven because a lot of
Yeah.
his
Yeah.
like strengths, like you saw Broken Blade. BB was like sitting there like, huh, all right.
Yeah. He was
Yeah,
totally
that's
ineffective
good
that
too.
game. Yeah.
Broken
Yeah,
Blade
like a
plays
lot of-
Riven too. He knows as soon as that locked in, he was like, wait, I'm screwed.
Yeah.
But I thought he played it. It was so clean. Like this guy has like 10,000 games on Riven. Like I've never seen someone have that many games on any character in pro
Mhm.
play. So
Maybe
like
yeah for Froggen, but yeah.
maybe a Nivea for
Yeah.
Froggen, yeah. But it was so clean. I was so hyped. I was like, God bless. I
Yeah.
wish they played it more often in other matchups, but until then, I mean, FlyQuest got one win and it was a really glorious win.
Mhm.
Uh,
Definitely.
even though I wasn't rooting for them,
Yeah.
holy cow, it was a
Definitely
really good
made the
game.
highlight reel for sure. He had a lot of really good engages, and knowing when to engage and getting his stuns off, just really incredible to watch.
When he killed that Sona, Zen Sona, just like instantly, I was just like, holy
Yeah.
shit.
Yeah.
The perfect timing on the Q to get like the knockup back into the
Yep.
Yeah.
keep going. The
Yeah,
impact-
we could keep gushing about that Riven. It was
Keep
clean.
gushing
I don't
about
like
that.
Riven. I don't like Riven,
Yeah.
but that was great.
Yeah, I definitely just wanted to bring it up because if you haven't seen that game, for those of you listening or watching, then you definitely want to check that game out just for the highlights on Riven, because it was pretty cool to see. Let's move on to Team Liquid and CLG, that specific game, since we're kind of in the middle of the pack here talking about Team Liquid and CLG. I'm personally, again, happy whenever Team Liquid loses, but what are your thoughts here on this game? Kevin, let me start with Kevin, since I know Kevin's a Team Liquid fan. Yeah, let me start with Kevin, get his thoughts on this, what were your thoughts on the game, my friend?
Okay, so, give me a sec. All right, so I thought that the Liquid draft was fine. They had a lot of power picks, like Sivir, Silas, like they got their Kennen, and they had their Olaf. I thought that the Warriors was a really strange buy for this game specifically, because Warriors off is like, it's really good if you can like dick on them, but like Sejuani doesn't care after a certain point.
Yeah.
So like Victor literally was one-shotting him, so I was like,
Yeah.
I think that this game was first of all, I think this game was pretty well played by CLG. I think PoE popped off. I think Stixay was okay, even though his score was the best on his team. And I thought Wiggly went insane. I don't know where the hell this Wiggly was last split, or even most of this split, but he was like jungle monstering it. When they stole that dragon, or did they steal the dragon, or just won the fight? Like that was just like, I was like, holy shit, he just man moded that. I don't think this was a case of Liquid not trying as hard, so this one was a much more concerning loss. I don't think Liquid looked bad per se. Like Impact had an amazing 4-kill bot lane fight at the bot inhib when it was 4-8.
Yeah.
That was like so clean. But all in all, like CLG had a much easier to execute composition when they were ahead. And I don't know what Double was doing that game. That's all.
Do we ever know what Double Lift is doing?
Yeah.
It's always the question.
The man's got the 5th highest KDA on a team with 2 losses, and he also has the highest CS per minute period, which means that he's at least like getting a lot of resources for his team and doing stuff. I wish damage share was shown on websites, but
it'll be on you want Total Pro? Never mind. Yeah. So if I can take the floor for a moment,
go ahead, my friend.
I actually, despite all this, I kind of agree with Kevin that I think that this was kind of Team Liquid's game to throw, and they threw it very well. They started off as steadily as they could. And it was around about the time that Smithy was like, hey, let me just walk into the... He sees CLG trying to steal his blue. He's like, nah, I don't want that. But obviously then he ends up getting his blue, doesn't pass it over. Then he goes and does the opposite thing. He's like, I'll go steal their blue, overcommits. I feel like from that point, he was like, all right, well, I guess I just broke my R key or something, smashing it so hard trying to get this blue buff because I'll just forget to press it every time I get caught. Wiggly was nuts with this Sejuani performance. I can't believe Smithy actually swapped teams and went back to CLG for this game. It was really good.
That's pretty funny.
Yeah. The obvious play being the over like the wall at mid lane, and he gets he gets Olaf and who was mid? I forgot who was even the mid laner. Silas. Silas for TL. And obviously in the Luxo, all these things, really good plays that got CLG like kind of even in gold, because they actually, after all this, they were still only even. It was once Stixay got online with his Caitlyn and got the first tower, you kind of notice that he goes top, he gets the top tower, and Biofrost just follows him everywhere. They just escort this Caitlyn Lux to every tower. They get a 3-tower lead. Team Liquid have no towers. At this point, you start to notice that, well, first of all, how do you always get sieged out and poked down by Caitlyn Lux, but also now the goal lead is chipped, and Team Liquid go, we can't take any fights. And when Team Liquid can't take fights, they engage, they use their stuff, they lose, and then they just run away. I feel like, I don't know how Double Lift is a pro AD carry, because the amount of times I've watched him start a team fight and then just like Sivir ult away, and he doesn't orbalk, he doesn't kite, he doesn't auto attack, he just runs and doesn't use his summoners. I'm like losing my mind. Like even the tiniest amount of damage would maybe help Double, but he does this every goddamn time. He doesn't know how to play team fights. Dude, I don't know. It's insane. I feel like I can count on multiple hands.
Well, I would limit it to like certain champions he doesn't know how to play on.
True.
Like his Sivir and his Ashe are like historically like very straight. Yeah, I know. Like you see him on Lucian and you're like, wow, he's putting out so much damage, and then on Sivir he's just like, for some reason he can't hit anything, and I was just like, I don't understand.
Yeah, in short, Wiggly outjungled Xmithy, but I don't know if I would say that Stixay didn't do that much, because the entire comp was centered around just sieging with this Caitlyn, and they executed it really well. Yeah, and Stixay might be
traps very well.
Stixay might be the best Caitlyn in NA. Like, granted, that's like a caveat of thinking about we haven't seen anyone play Caitlyn in a long time.
It's true.
But when Stixay...
So you're right about now. He is the best Caitlyn.
When Stixay was good, he was a Caitlyn player. He was known as like Yeah. So
Yeah.
This is true.
Okay.
anyway, I can take all this off now.
No, that's good. I mean, I wanted to hear your guys' thoughts because, obviously we got a Liquid fan and a CLG fan. Do you have anything to throw in there, Mitchell?
Yes, I have a couple of points, just like specific points. Sejuani is Wiggly's most played. This is like the first actual pop-off game. He's probably had a ton of pop-off games and scrims. This is the first time it's actually happened. But it's Wiggly's most played. PoE, Victor, and Oriana are his two most played. This is like comfort across the board. Stixxay with Caitlyn, MSI finalists. This was the battle of the MSI finalists in NA, by the way.
Hell yeah, it was.
Yeah, I mean, on paper, yeah.
Yeah, and technically, this is Biofrost's first win against Doublift since they were a duo lane too.
Ooh.
Oh, wow.
Yeah,
I like that
3
stat.
years almost. Yeah.
I mean, it's one of Biofrost's first wins in general. But
Yeah, a long time.
the CLG days have been rough, my dude.
No, mama.
Just a couple of points. The Sivir, so Team Liquid first rounded Sivir, and it's just such a bad. Caitlyn is the hardest counter pick into Sivir, and the next one is Vayne. So it's like, hey, you're gonna get pooped on in lane pretty hard.
Yeah.
That did happen. And then also the Olaf, yeah, you mentioned it before, Warrior into Black Cleaver Olaf. It doesn't work unless you're really, really far ahead. They tried to they're like, we're gonna ignore CLG's team comp. We're picking Sivir, Karma, Olaf. We're just gonna run at him. We're gonna try it and see if it works. And they didn't take into account that they get outdrafted. Also, if you're gonna try and counter pick a Sejuani in the first round, you should probably just take Trundle, right? Trundle's like the most OP pick into Sejuani.
And Liquid literally pioneers Trundle jungle. So
exactly. Yeah, they didn't even not into Sejuani. So
that's a good point.
I actually think this is a case of disrespect from Team Liquid on the draft side and a bit on the play, in build side. I think they tunneled on a strategy. They worked in scrims. They've been seeing damage Olaf around the world, and they just want to try it. Did not work at it.
Yeah.
And then, to give credit though, that's probably what they're doing with these first few weeks, anyways.
It's like when they played York that one split, and it was an awful game.
That was probably not the time to do it. I don't know, but go ahead, Mitchell.
Come on, man.
Yeah, I know,
man. But I really quickly wanted to mention though, it is nice that they're Liquid still playing Jace top in their other games. They're showing other things, and Core JJ had an amazing game in the Liquid versus 100 Thieves game. Did you see the voice comms where he was Double's I'm dead, and Core JJ's no, I'll save you, or something I'll keep you safe or something. I was like, holy shit, who is this man? I want my support to whisper that to me when I play.
I know. I'm usually you're dead. See ya. Every person for themselves, but
not my lane, not my problem.
Not my lane, not my problem. Yeah, so definitely some interesting things playing out there. I don't think any of us would count out Team Liquid as falling off or anything by any means. So it is just one game. But let's move on to the last kind of team in this group, which is Clutch Gaming. And more so, I don't really want to talk about the matches here because they played 100 Thieves. Okay, free win. And then they played Golden Guardians, which we kind of talked about already. But I kind of want to talk about what you just think about their lineup. So they did add Cody Sun to the mix, right? So Cody Sun's been playing. I don't think he's been amazing. Hooney is definitely kind of for sure. But just give me your overall thoughts on what you think about Clutch right now. Again, for me personally, I just don't feel like I think they're a 9th or 10th place team, to be honest. I just don't think that they have the pieces there. And even adding Cody Sun, although I think he is a good ADC, I don't think he's performing as well as some of the ADCs that we have, there's quite a bit of good ADCs. What are your thoughts on Clutch Gaming as a team in general? Because I don't think they'll be in this group, this bunch for much longer. You guys agree, disagree?
They're such a sporadic team, right? They're there's so much talent, pure raw talent on the team, and they're just so aggressive. Almost all of their losses, they get ahead early game and then they throw 5 times in a row. I don't know. It's will they learn to not throw like they have in the 30 combined years of experience they have on their team? They're all their players have been playing for so long. It's ridiculous. Yet they don't know how to not throw. I don't know. It's so weird. They're just such a weird team.
I think the biggest problem with Clutch is like on paper, if you're just looking at the raw talent on the team, like there's like a lot of upside to them, but they don't have a good mix of players. Like Cody sounds a great addition to the team because like, he's more of like that late game insurance, AD carry. Like, you know, if everyone's screwing around, at least this guy will probably be doing something later on.
Yeah.
So that like helps a lot more compared to Piglet, who was just kind of enabling that shitty behavior when he was on the team. But like Cooney and Lyra, like it's just so painful to watch them at times. Like they can like pop off at like in the Golden Guardians game, but then they can also just like do the dumbest pro plays you'll ever see in NA at least. So I just hate watching them. I mean, it's just. If Hooney gets back to form, maybe they can do something. But like,
I think we've been trying to bank on that. Yeah, we've been saying that for a while.
We say that every split, and the one split we don't say it. The one he was on Echo Fox to get like 4th, and I'm just like, all right, whatever.
You're like, what the heck? No, good point.
So, yeah, I don't think I agree with you, League Dead. I don't think they're staying in the top 5.
I don't think so.
Just right now.
Yep. Okay, Nerdy. Anything to add before we move on?
I think I agree. The only thing that I would think could push them any further is the fact that they are so aggressive that it is likely that they could. Top teams always drop to one team that they disrespect. So, and maybe they pick up wins there. Maybe that matters, but I find it very unlikely.
Yeah. Okay. And like I said, there's not much to say here, so we don't need to say much about them because honestly,
it's the most that we've ever said about Clutch in a long
exactly.
time.
It's very boring. So I just kind of wanted it. It was more of like just as a homage to at least give them a little blurb. But I want to talk about the last 3 teams here in this kind of bottom of the tier: FlyQuest, Echo Fox, and 100 Thieves. I guess first let's talk about FlyQuest because I think they're the biggest surprise to be in this bottom. At least for me. And then I think 100 Thieves, it's not that they're last that's a surprise. It's just kind of like, again, we need to figure out, well, why is this happening? Yeah, what's going on? They haven't won anything yet. So let's talk about FlyQuest first. What do you guys think is the problem here? They beat TSM. That's good. That's good for them. Lost to OPTIC. They've lost to Cloud9, and then they lost to Golden Guardians. So by all accounts, they've had a pretty difficult schedule. But do you think it's anything individually, or do you think, should they be worried? Okay,
they're making a lot of mechanical mistakes, like a lot. They're missing skill shots. They're TPing the minions in fights. They're flashing into walls and stuff.
Yeah.
And, I mean, did you guys watch like the pre-LCS stuff with like the FlyQuest had like the vlogs? Like Wild Turtle was talking about how he was memeing on himself. Basically, like he just kept messing up over and over again, like mechanical fights. So
I
think that's a big part of it. And also Santorin is like asleep in the early game. Like even if we were winning against TSM, he didn't do anything for 15 minutes. So
yeah, he's definitely been asleep at the wheel. I don't know what's going on with Santorin for at least the early game. I actually think it's like still heavily weighed on the schedule. Like a lot of those games are just like, these are matchups they could win, but there's like other than Golden Guardians, they're slightly unfavored. I think Viper's improved a lot on the team, so like that's a huge plus for them.
Good.
Yeah.
And then like Turtle and not Turtle. Their support's Ole, right?
JJ.
Why did I say Ole?
It's Golden Guardians.
JJ. Yeah. I don't know why they're playing JJ. I actually thought they got Wadid so they could, upgrade their bot lane and like.
That's a good point.
Take it to the next level. But I think JJ's played every game so far. I don't know if I've seen Wadid.
Yes.
Yeah, I don't think I've seen Wadid.
A lot of Lux Qs.
So like it's very I mean JJ's not terrible, but like if you have Wadid, who like I'm not super high on, but I think he's a better player. So
Semi-finals beat RNG. I don't know, man.
Yeah, like I don't know what you're paying for his contract for if you're not even gonna try him one time in all these super tough games that could like you need that edge, right?
You need those wins,
give them the same old. Like people have improved. I don't think FlyQuest has gotten worse. In fact, I think they've gotten a little better, just not as fast as the other teams that used to be in their area. Yeah,
for sure. Yeah, I mean, go ahead, Nerdy.
I was just gonna say, Wadid's on a 0-17 loss streak right now, or something competitively. By the way, like
jeez.
True, but they bought him knowing that.
No, he's in academy, just losing games. He moved from Europe to go to any academy to save this man. Save him. He doesn't deserve this.
Reunite him with
He
yarning.
was on G2 one time, I'll have you know.
That he was.
Pretty good.
He was in
He
the world
was.
semifinals before he went on this live
He
stream.
clapped
Yeah.
RNG, man.
This
Hey.
is true.
This is the price for beating Uzi.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The curse that lasts forever.
Okay. Well, it seems like with FlyQuest, I think we're kind of. It seems like on the same page as far as they had a tough schedule. They definitely need to improve their game for sure.
Yeah.
But we'll chalk it up. We'll give them a little slack and say that they have played some tougher teams, and who else is knows what's going to happen moving forward. But we'll have to see in the next couple weeks. All right, let's move on to Echo Fox here. Thoughts on Echo Fox? So they went 0-2.
I thought they were gonna beat TSM. I was like, they're gonna beat TSM. My prediction from last week, where TSM was gonna go 0-2, is gonna be right. Oh no, they threw in the late game. Dang.
They
Yeah.
should have won.
Yeah.
Yeah, it did look like a good game for them. I honestly thought. Speaking of, let's see that. So TSM, I think, you were the one that said they were going to go 0-2, or what did you say?
So close to being true.
Yeah, you were close.
Yeah.
But it went the opposite of how I thought the upsets would have gone.
Yeah.
Uh,
So
Yumi Zillion is
I
broken.
mean, Yumi Zillion's broken, but did you guys watch some of those skirmishes? Like
They were.
they would win a fight, they would get a kill, and then they're like, let's overcommit into the Lucian
rounds.
with Yumi
Good
attached
job.
and Zillion around. I was like, oh no, what is going on?
that was pretty.
I mean,
that was pretty cool to see, though. Honestly,
it was
I
cool,
mean,
yeah. It was exciting as hell.
mhm.
That's what you get though. Like with a team like Echo Fox, you can see Yusui is super new to that stage. He's underestimating his opponents.
Yeah.
Always thinking they're gonna fall for it. I'm gonna dash back in and get a Q as Aatrox, and then Lucian is still a mile away and just kites his ass. Happened so many times in team fights. He's oh, I'm gonna bait the Lucian in. Oh no, he's Sven and much smarter than I gave credit for. Oh, I whiffed and I'm dead.
Does anyone know- sorry, go for it.
No, I was just saying, as much as I hate seeing Bjergsen play Zillion, it seems like they do well whenever he plays Zillion.
Yeah, it's so weird.
With Grig.
With Grig, that's
Well, even
true.
before then, they didn't
Yeah.
want to play Zillion when Arcadian was in the team, and I thought that was so strange because Zillion just apparently is one of Bjergsen's best champions.
It has no lane pressure though in the early game, which is what you want.
That's true, but I don't
I
think.
don't know if that's entirely true.
Well, if you play that though, I don't think that Bjergsen has had that much lane pressure anyway, because there's a lot of good mid laners. I mean, Bjergsen definitely is top tier mid laner, but I don't think he's stomping mid laners to where now we're playing around this. Bjergsen to me is just a solid, consistent, really good mid laner, but I don't think he's solo carrying from his lane.
Such a sad statement to hear nowadays.
So it is, but I mean, that's why I say I don't.
MVP.
As much as it's boring to see Zillion, I actually think it favors the team really well because he knows how to play that champ.
It does.
And so I don't know. That was just a thought I wanted to put out there, seeing that Zillion all the time. But do you have something to say, Kevin?
No, I was just gonna say I think that TSM just played really well with I thought Bjergsen and Grig showed a lot. Well, in this game at least, they showed a lot more of this synergy and the teamwork together. I mean, they kind of have to. It's Zillion Hecarim, but it definitely felt like they were on similar pages, which is good to see, especially after watching Acadian play with him recently. So I don't know. Maybe Bjergsen just likes Grig more or something. You never know. But
I do know. No, I mean, I do know that they played a lot in solo queue together. So I know they have a lot of
2018 together too.
Yeah, all of 2018.
That's
so
true,
that
but
might
I don't
be
think
something.
That experience was something that would have given you a positive impression based on
fourth place.
Just pause. Just theorizing.
Well, lost to Clutch Gaming.
Yeah,
but that was with Mike Young though. That was with Mike Young.
Oh right, that was Mike.
Yeah,
Sorry,
Mike
I almost
Young.
forgot about his existence. Anyways, I was just gonna make a comment. I don't like Zillion much as a pick usually, but I get this weird feeling every time I see Zillion, it wins 80% of the times I've seen it, just historically.
I think it's just team really well.
But yeah,
it's
incredibly team comp dependent. I think.
Yeah, I think so.
This was it works super well with Hecarim, like you said. The synergy with Hecarim is undoubtable, and then you have the Yumi. That's the old Lucian, Lulu, Karma back on SKT.
Yeah.
And, Lulu mid. That stuff is pretty OP in the late game. It's how do you even beat that? He's moving a mile a minute.
It was really nice to see Sven carry a game. Like this is.
Did he carry
I
a game though? It's like
Yeah.
two supports.
That's a good point.
We give Bang the same credit for that legendary
I would never,
LCK
by the
game
way.
where he got all those buffs, and I'm like, I mean, he had a
That's
Lulu
true.
Karma. What did you want from him? He was
I guess
ice
it's
skating.
true. Yeah.
When we
So like,
talk- when we
they
talk
drafted a
about
Baron Sven though.
Echo
That is
Fox.
like,
It was to support the Sven comp for sure.
yeah, I mean, he did his job. It was super
He did his job.
easy, but I mean, he didn't. Okay, he did not die at Baron Solo, so I mean, I'll take.
There you go.
one improvement.
Right.
I thought we were talking about Echo Fox, by the way, not TSM. I know
Nah,
you
we don't.
wanna go back and
It
forth.
doesn't.
yeah,
It doesn't
yeah.
really matter. Closing points on Echo Fox, though. What do you think on Echo Fox?
Where's Phoenix and where's Apollo?
Screw Phoenix, overrated as hell. Get him in academy
know.
and stick him there forever.
I think he's still better than Yusui so far. I think Yusui's better
Yusui's
okay in
new
late
though.
days.
Give him a
Okay.
chance. He's played
Yeah,
4
I mean,
games.
a baby's also newer, but like, I'm
Yeah,
not.
give that baby a
throw him
chance.
Give
thought-
the baby.
Give that baby a
thought-
chance.
I thought Solo played really well this game. I thought his
That's
Rumble
the title of it,
was
so give that baby a chance.
Yeah.
no, Rumble. Thought his Rumble was very good.
Yellow's pretty
sure.
Like
good, yeah.
probably the biggest performance in that game because it was close to bringing Fox the actual win. But I guess unfortunately Rumble's not as strong as he used to be, so he can't just solo carry games anymore.
Mhm.
Yeah, I don't know what it is that Echo Fox are missing. There's definitely like an it factor that they're missing because they're not
Yeah.
a
They're
bad
missing
team.
They're missing a jungler for sure.
Oh, nerdy. I think you muted yourself.
Every time.
Sometimes his mic just cuts out randomly.
There he goes. There it is. Okay.
Trial.
Trial. I think your
Hello?
mic got cut out. There he is.
Sorry, I don't know what the hell that
Okay.
it happens every episode now. I might have to get a mic. Yeah, I
It's
don't.
fine.
Yeah, maybe it's their jungler because Rush definitely has ups and downs, and obviously he's nowhere near as the highs of like
Yeah.
his 10 days. Those are
Yeah, it's
so
good,
long
yeah.
ago. So
Mhm.
maybe it's
Okay.
time to replace Rush, but he's good. So
Yep.
I don't know. Maybe.
We'll see. All right, let's spend I want to use the rest of this time talking about week 3 because I don't think there's anything really to say about 100 Thieves other than they still suck. And there's nothing to get excited about here, and until they show us something, I don't think they're worth even really talking about. Just know they're 0-4, haven't won a game, no need to really spend time on them, and I'd rather spend more time talking about this upcoming week. And speaking of the upcoming week, we talked about the undefeated team OPTIC right now. They have a tough schedule, so they're playing C9 and then they're playing who are they playing? Team Liquid. So this will be a big test, I think, to see, do they stay undefeated? If they win one of those games, I'm impressed.
I think, yeah, if they win one of those games or have close games with either of them, I think we can start to say OPTIC is pretty good.
Yeah.
But if they get stomped, yeah, whatever.
then it's kind of like, okay, reality's sinking
Yeah,
back
win
in.
out
But,
the sales, yeah.
yeah, I think you mentioned it. Even if they stay close on these games, then that's worth looking at.
I think they should definitely be happy.
Mhm.
I hope Team Liquid prepares and doesn't like.
They're a 4-0 team. There's no way they don't, right?
Right? You would
I don't
think,
know.
right?
Team Liquid, you never know with Team Liquid, man. Like,
Roller coaster.
I wouldn't put it down to preparing. They could prepare. They could just forget to log in to League of Legends and just play
Yeah.
bad. They do it quite often, actually.
yeah, they
We'll
do
see.
a little too much, honestly.
For a
Hey,
top
they
team.
show up when it matters, though. It's 3-0 in finals attempts right
They
now.
show up when it matters, but it makes the regular season just like a big heart attack. Like, what
Yeah.
are they doing? I don't know.
I
Playing
agree.
Yorick, playing Warrior Olaf. Ugh.
I mean, I think it's better though to be trying that than to literally just like be a one-trick pony and like just sit there. Even if you win the games, it's like the regular season.
Oh,
It
for
doesn't
sure.
matter if you're like
it's
It's way
true.
more entertaining.
but like
There's so much about it that's better to be this way. I would agree.
Yeah, I mean, but we still
Okay.
get to rag on them when they lose.
Well, so
no,
here's
I-
Which is my favorite part.
well, here's the question then. Okay, let's go ahead and do our predictions here. All right. So does OPTIC take one game this week? And it doesn't. You don't have to say who, but do they win one game this week?
Yes.
God.
I'm gonna
Okay.
stay.
Hey, yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Nerdy says yes. What's
I'm
your?
gonna
What
say
are you
no.
saying? Okay, Mitchell's saying no. Kevin,
Saying no, they're not winning either
No.
game.
no.
no, not happening.
I want to have hope, but
They're called flukes for a reason.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to say no too as well. I just don't think
you don't want to give me all of the glory when we come to
Oh.
the team.
Hey
I'm
man,
gonna
that's
say it's close though. I'm gonna say it's close. Like it, I think it's more on the C9 Team Liquid side for them to
Okay.
lose the game rather than Optic, because like
okay.
Optic is gonna come with a very straightforward. Crown's gonna carry us in the split push. We're gonna have
Okay.
solid. We're gonna have a tank in the top lane, tank in the jungle, solid bot lane, and Crown's gonna hard carry. And
Okay.
if TL and C9 don't draft or see it coming, they will lose actually. So
Yeah.
it's up to
Okay.
them to not be dumb, I think. Yeah.
All right. For me, I think the game of the week has to be TSM C9 coming in here. I think that's going to be a pretty exciting matchup. And so let's just start off real quickly with your predictions. Who takes this game, TSM or C9? Anybody can jump in here if you feel confident in your pick.
I don't feel confident at all.
I'm gonna have to say C9 because mathematically, once again, if I think that C9 potentially loses to Optic, there's no way they go 0-2 in that week. And even
Okay.
all I'm saying, is the math works in my head.
You're doing one of those
C9's
like,
gonna
you're doing
win.
one of those, like UFO
Yeah.
stories. You're like,
Yeah.
"Man, that's why aliens
If
are
I
real."
think that, yeah, it's true. But I don't know. I think that the matchup's hard to guess anyway. So if I coin flip it, I at least want to make my coin flip sound logical.
Okay, fair enough.
Yeah. Okay. What do you think, Kevin?
For me, I think I'm banking on TSM for this one. I think that C9 hasn't shown me, like, yeah, C9's better so far, but I think just TSM will get their shit together by then. And I think that they're starting to figure out what they're going to do with the jungler. Like, I don't think it's going to take them the whole split to figure it out.
So you're saying
I could be totally wrong.
so you're saying TSM?
TSM.
Okay. Mitchell?
All right, I have my prediction as well. So every Saturday, Acadian plays, right? 2 weeks in a row now.
Is that like on
Oh,
purpose, or is it just like so far?
Thanks.
This is what's happened.
Maybe they're just
Every-
trying it. Yeah.
Every Sunday, Grig is played and they win.
Okay. Okay. Ooh.
TSM versus Cloud9's on Sunday, and Grig's playing. I think they win. TSM win this Sunday.
Infallible
Okay.
logic, honestly.
Fantastic,
analyst.
scientific, 100%.
Casual leaguers, so that's what we have to bring to the table, my dude.
Yes.
Yeah. No. I love it. You know, I'm a TSM fan, man. This is purely based on my analytics and love for TSM. TSM wins. Okay, that's all. That's all there is. That's hard analytics right there. So it looks like Nerdy, you're all alone again on your pick here for C9. But you know, this is based on a lot of scientific facts. So well, let's so be sure to check that match out. That's going to be happening on Sunday at around, I believe, 5 p.m. or so. So that's going to be interesting to watch. Now, talking about hard schedules with FlyQuest, because they've been having kind of a tough schedule starting off. They play Team Liquid first on Saturday. That's going to be a rough game, I think. Do you think Team Liquid takes that one, or do you think FlyQuest might actually be able to pull out a win here?
Oh, for sure, Liquid. I mean, literally,
Yeah.
FlyQuest's best player right now is probably Viper.
Yeah.
And Impact is like known for shutting down like those like
Yeah.
aggressive top laners, or at least like, you know, making them feel
Most of the time.
nullified most of the time.
Most of the time.
That's the
I'm gonna
time.
bet on most of the time. So
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Well, so I guess we're pretty much, we don't need to take a prediction on there. I do want to get
No, let's
like
take
what
prediction. Let's
Do
take
you wanna-
prediction.
you do want to make a prediction on this. Okay. I
Make a
mean,
prediction. 'Cause I think I'm going to say FlyQuest actually.
Oh.
I think you're the only one that's going to say FlyQuest. I'm not even, I'm just going to put this here. I'm not even going to take a poll. I'm just going to put Mitchell says FlyQuest beats Team Liquid. Okay. That's just, I'm just going to put that.
on the 17th where I laugh
Yeah.
at it.
We will just pull that
I
up.
just hope they don't get stomped, please.
I wish I could meme on Kevin that hard, but there's no way that Liquid
Yeah,
wins this game.
I don't-
We've just said the FlyQuest are like not very good earlier. Or well, at least
Yep.
like bottom of the.
TSM, I don't know. And then TL lost to CLG.
I could probably beat TSM on a good day. That team beats themselves every time they just they can't decide what jungler to play.
So I
Okay.
once again,
All right.
Yeah, I
Well,
was
here,
right. I was, almost
here's
right.
what I want to get to next on our next prediction, probably the last one. Who do you think takes first? this coming week, because we kind of some of these questions or predictions have touched on that, you know, whether or not Optic takes a win or not. That's going to affect standings, right? But also Golden Guardians, you know, they're sitting at 3-1, and they have a pretty easy schedule. 100 Thieves, that's a win. And then they're playing CLG, which CLG's okay, but I honestly think Golden Guardians could, you know, at least 70-30 or 60-40 win that game. And so that could be, and you know, C9's got TSM they got to play against, and they're also playing Optic. So who do you think takes first? That's the question. Is it still going to be Optic? Is it going to be C9? Is it going to be Golden Guardians?
I think a caveat to this question is maybe we should do Optic predictions for next week first.
I thought we already did.
We did an Optic prediction, yeah.
Oh, we did.
We did. So that's why I want to ask you, who's your prediction to be first place then?
If I think that Optic win at least one game, and their game is against C9 and
Liquid.
Liquid. So I have to think that they beat one of those. Basically, I think that I'm forced to choose Optic. Although even if I think the Golden Guardians go 2-0, which they could, it would still both be 5-1.
Yeah,
it's true.
So technically, they'd both be joined first. So it doesn't matter which one I pick.
Doesn't matter. Okay.
I'd be safe in that bet. So Optic, Golden Guardians.
And we'll put you as Optic, Golden Guardians. Yeah, because then you're saying that they'll take a game. Optic is what you're saying.
Yeah, and I'm saying that Golden Guardians are going to go 2-0 and Optic's going to go 0-2. So
yeah,
with that, Golden Guardians will be first as a 5-1 team.
I love.
I'm with Kevin.
Comment will be second, sadly, for them.
Yeah, I think I'm with the Kevin boat here. I don't think Optic wins.
Shouldn't.
Mitchell.
Me again? Okay.
Golden Guardians. All right, so I think Golden Guardians are going to go 1-1, and C9 is going to go 1-1, and they'll be tied for first.
So you're with the nerdy boat here.
Okay.
GG Optic tied for first.
It's easy to remember.
No, GG Cloud9, and then
Optic
GG 0-2 this weekend.
Oh, so you think GG and C9?
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I see that. It's good possibility as well.
Golden Guardians. If Golden Guardians go 1-1, they're playing. Who are they playing?
They're playing 100 Thieves.
C9's playing Optic. That's right. Okay. I was gonna say
C9's playing Optic TSM.
Yeah. Okay.
They'll lose TSM, so they'll go 1-1, and they'll be 5-2.
Yeah.
6-2. Wait, what is it? 4-2? I can't.
4-2.
You have to end with the even number because there's only even number matches.
Right. It'd be 4-2. So yeah, I think Golden Guardians and C9 will end the week 4-2 next week.
Okay. Good predictions. I can see that. All right. Okay, last thing before we wrap up the show, any statements you want to make coming up in the week 2, anything that our viewers should pay attention, anything you want to predict and say this is what's going to happen, and then we look at you next week and actually either laugh at you or say, wow, you're a genius. So I'll leave it open. Let's go in this order. I'll start with you, Kevin. Do you have any statements, bold statements to make for week 3 coming up?
Yeah, so I was on the train that Licorice was a better player than Broken Blade coming into this split, but I've been watching ProView and I've been paying attention especially to top and jungle, and I actually don't think Licorice is looking that amazing. He got solo killed by Viper. I'm just watching it, and my bold predictions, I think that Broken Blade is just going to look better than Licorice in the matchup, and that's going to be the turning point for who's the carry top laner threat.
Big agree.
Okay, that's pretty good.
It's just hard to see what Licorice does better when I'm just literally watching his point of view. I'm just he's not playing that well.
I do think part of the thing with Licorice is not only is he, good, but he has a huge champion pool, and I think that's what makes him also very deadly, is that he could pick. You really don't know who he's gonna pick, and whoever he does pick, he'll probably be at least decent at him. So all right, that's a good statement though. I like it. Mitchell, what about you? What's your bold statement for week 3?
Week 3,
and if you don't have one, it's okay. You don't have to make a bold statement.
Golden Guardians will get Tom Kench banned against them twice in a row. I guess that's not that bold, is it? But
it could be. No one's done it so far.
Yeah. Tom banned twice. Okay, I'm gonna put that. That's good.
Kench banned. So that means in my prediction, 100 Thieves is gonna ban Tom Kench and they'll still win. Yeah.
Now that's probably more of the bold statement right there that you other than
Just
the
a
Tom
little.
Kench, but yeah, I think that's more of the bold statement. That second part.
We're
Okay,
without Tom Kench. Let's go.
yeah, let's go. All right, Nerdy, bold statement,
I
or
mean,
if you have one.
I was looking at Clutch's games coming up to be like, oh, do they have any hard matches? But their games are against like FlyQuest and TSM. So
Yeah.
to say, Clutch might win a game, yeah, I don't know. I don't know if that's even that bold. I think Clutch could potentially beat FlyQuest.
Maybe.
Okay.
I think they can beat
So Clutch.
TSM, honestly.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not having a lot of faith right now either. So you're saying Clutch wins a game. Okay.
Clutch gets a win next week.
Ooh.
All right.
Yeah.
Let me see. Wait, who's 100 Thieves playing? They're playing Echo
Golden
Fox,
Guardians.
Golden Guardians. All right. I say my bold prediction is 100 Thieves wins against Echo Fox.
Holy cow, that's the boldest prediction.
I mean,
100
look at
Thieves
the
win
players.
a
That
game.
should always
I'm just
happen.
going by, dude. I'm just going by odds here. All right, like they can't lose forever. I think
Can't
week
lose.
3 is gonna. I think we.
Last
I think
weekend,
week
100
3.
Thieves would like to have a word with you.
Come on. That's my bold prediction, and we're just gonna have to see next week if any of those pan out or whatever. But
There's
Yeah.
not much talent being wasted.
okay. Well, you never know, man. And you'll just have to catch us next week again to see if any of our bold statements came true. But hey, I just want to thank my co-hosts Kevin, Mitchell, Nerdy. It's been a blast talking about LCS Week 2. Guys, if you enjoyed the podcast, please follow, subscribe, tell your friends, leave us a review. We will take any of the compliments you can give us or criticism, but just don't be too hard. I cry easily. But if you have any questions, feel free to email us at theallinpodcast@gmail.com or tweet us at the All In Podcast. But until next time, guys, enjoy your climb on the rift. Try not to be too toxic, and we will see you all next time. Peace.